Hello, 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 everybody. How are you today? Hi, how are you? Is anybody here to join us for our tarot workshop? How are you all? I hope you're well. I really do. Happy New Year. And for those of you that saw me last night, I hope you're well. And it was a wonderful night there on our Tarot Live. Now then, I'm just going to change the camera a little bit there because that wasn't quite so good. Oh, hi, Anna. How are you? Hello. Lovely. Notepad and pen in hand. Sorry to have kept you waiting there, Anna McLeod. Hi, Tony. How are you? I'm going to just say hi to everybody that's here. Here's Anna. It's lovely to have you, darling. I'll get rid of that. I'm a bit different to when we do our live readings. Hi. Thank you for joining me. So, another tarot workshop, and just giving people a little chance to maybe join us. Bear with me. Okay, I can now kind of see who's joining us. So, yes, we are doing tarot. Anna, you can watch the previous lessons on the catch-ups and the replays in live tarot workshops and tarot workshops in the playlist. And today I'll be covering the Five of Swords and the Six of Swords. So if anybody would like a copy of the worksheets, once I go through the PDFs, it's in the Five and the Six of Swords today, I will be able to share with you a little link for you to, if you want to, have a copy of those worksheets. And very similar, Anna in particular, seeing as you've got a notepad and pen, I'm so delighted that you have. But if you feel you want to relax, the bullet points are there and you can follow along. Hi Fiona, how are you? Thanks for joining us. So yes, this is our continuation here through the swords with our workshop. I have some new and exciting news. I am working very, very hard on getting all of the courses in one place for you to be able to follow your own online course. I have loaded up the Major Arcana, so that's all done. You can actually buy that lesson and go through each individual card and you can work through it in my platform, where you've got me as your tutor. Very different to this. This is just bullet points, key points. You can also buy a copy of the key point workbook. I finished that one yesterday. And so that's available. And that's a really nice book to actually keep your keynotes. The keynotes I'm showing on the lesson here are just for the sake of the lesson. You're welcome. You're welcome, Anna. And A up, I don't know who that is, somebody here, Facebook user. If you can click the link onto Restream, I did post it in the description for the lesson, and I jumped on, gosh, in the last 10 minutes. It's been incredibly busy because of putting these courses on. So the Major Arcana is available, and I also have the swords, which is what we're going through right now. So I'm kind of keeping up with the workshop on here, but it's very, very different, much more depth, and we're going through all of the cards, the symbology, the meaning, the feelings of the cards, things that you just would not get if we were to do it live, because I've missed something, but because it's recorded, you can go in there and play it at any time that you want to do so. And of course, I'm offering the worksheet for free here, which is a similar version to the key points and the keynotes that you see on the screen with me here today. So with no further ado, let's jump in. Let me give you the name of where you can get those courses if you want to. It is Tarot Courses Online. So that's tarotcourses.online. Getting used to it myself. It's been a massive changeover in the direction of where I was going to put it. I was going to put it on tarotwithmmarie.com, but that hasn't worked out. So we've gone for a learning management system, and I am adding them. Probably take me a couple more weeks to get them all on there. They're all made, just a case of making sure that you can access them easily and that everything works in the way that I want it to, so you get the best possible experience. So thanks, Anna. Lovely to have your support. Thank you very much for typing that. So here we go with the Five of Swords, and here we have 5 in tarot is always a little bit of a struggle or challenges, okay? And when you get the 5 of Swords or the 5 of Cups or the 5 of Wands or the 5 of Pentacles, depending on the suit, there is a little bit of a challenge going on with that number 5, okay? So in regard to the 5 of Swords, this can be representing arguments, things where there are disagreements amongst people, a group. The more people that you get, the more people have their own opinions and thoughts and feelings. Now, just mentioning that when we are dealing with the sword family, it's all to do with our thoughts and our communication with oneself in our thoughts, communication with other people. So when we get the 5 of Swords, we can actually be experiencing some difficulties. You know, we may feel bullied by other people, that they want to have their say, and that in actual fact, we are feeling maybe like the character that's turning away in yellow there, facing the sea, nearest to the sea and furthest away from what we can see in the card. We may feel, gosh, I feel humiliated, I've had a difficult time. Or we may be the one that is walking away, like we see there in the mid part of the card, sort of going, oh gosh, I'm going to walk away from this, it's entirely rubbish, you know, a little bit more confidence there. Or we may be the one that is the one in green that's actually going, aha, you know what, I'm going to have my say and I'm actually going to challenge you. So it can be that you are the one being challenged, or you are the one that decides that you do need to challenge, okay? It can be, as I said, that you feel bullied, or that you feel that other people are accusing you of bullying them because, you know, sorry, don't like what you're saying. And you've got to sort of look at that and go, right, okay, am I being fair, firm, kind? Is it a boundary and they don't like the boundary? Or am I actually, you know, being a bit too big for my britches? So we can be. We are human. It's all part of our human experience. It's also a card of victories gained, by dishonourable and vindictive acts. So it means that we can be a bit sly, a bit sneaky, a bit, oh, somebody is doing that to us, you know. It depends. Who do you identify with when you look at this card and you think about things? Are you looking at, gosh, I feel as if I'm the one that's actually really had a hard time and that person is really kind of giving their authority to me. It's usually to do with trying to figure out how to all get along. It can feel as if we are being left out and that people are talking about us behind our back. I'm sure they're saying something. But do remember that the swords are thoughts. It's not always the fact that that's exactly what is happening. It may be that in actual fact, it feels like that. We're thinking that. It might not actually be the case at all. It might just be in your head, you see, because of how you are thinking and how you are feeling, okay? It can be a card of gossip. So we can feel that people are chattering and maybe, you know, talking about what's going on, and we're feeling that we don't want them to talk about that, or we might be the ones that's actually turning around and saying, gosh, I really want to tell everybody what's going on. So again, it's who do you identify with? Different times when you get this card, depending on the vibe of how you are and what's resonating with you, you may feel like the victim, or you may feel like the achiever, or the one that's actually kind of going, I'm just going to walk away because I just can't simply agree to this at the moment, okay? But again, remember it's communication, and also do remember it's all about thoughts, okay? So, it's something that's not tangible. I've written that down because, you know, if it is a case of we are in a place and a space of actually thinking it, might not actually be what's reality, okay? Could just be our thoughts and how we are thinking and how our feelings are affecting our thoughts. Is it real? Is it not? That's for you to decide. Also, as I always say, do look at your pairing card. You know, I work in pairs, I don't do reverses. And do remember that in regard to what you're thinking, maybe not what comes out of your mouth in your communication. Could be you said something, you thought something entirely different. Remember Victor, one of our lovely fellows that often pops on here with, he's a reader in Twitch, and I think he's got a YouTube channel as well. Victor, I don't think you're here tonight, but he said misunderstandings can often be the case when you're simply trying to bring a little lightheartedness or jokey way, and people just do not see that humour in what you're doing. I remember being in a workshop, as in leading that workshop way back with my friend Fiona, who is watching tonight, and we had a character in that. Do you remember James, Fiona? James actually challenged a lot of things. He challenged the lesson. You know, he wanted to take over a little bit, and I had to be really firm with him. Fiona had to back me and kind of go, come on, there's the rest of us here. You know, it's not all about him. You know, James, lovely Leo chap that he was, just actually got a little bit carried away, and we had to turn around and say, now, come on. You've got to think about everybody. We've all got to get along. This isn't a one-to-one. So it can be, you see, once you're in a group, it can be somebody that just actually feels that they can go on and on and on. So, you know, it can be tricky. It can be tricky. Fiona's writing, unfortunately. Don't write any more, Fiona. I know your feelings on that whole time. But it was a lesson for all of us, you know. And certainly for me, as lead, it was like, oh gosh, yes, I'm letting him have his say, but he's talking a little bit too much. So it's like, right, that's enough. You know, so you have to turn around and work as a group. And wherever there's a group, there is ego, and there is flamboyance, and there is also a meaning and a reason as to why the group has gathered. Okay, it can be a struggle, as I said, and feel a bit like a battlefield. You know, who's winning, who's losing, what does it feel like? It's just different ideas and learning to try and work together. In some way. And of course, our head can go berserk and kind of say, oh gosh, you know, really, it's tricky. I'm finding it incredibly difficult to get along with everybody. It's challenging. It can feel like mental abuse. You know, I'm sure that person's doing this to me and that to me. Might not be the case at all, but it is to do with our thoughts, and it is to do with communication. Tony is posting on there the link if you do want to actually join in, Facebook user who said hello. Hi there, hello. I've got Sylvie. Hello. We're doing tarot workshop tonight. It's not about reading, Sylvie, just in case you've popped in. You know I do readings. Tonight is our workshop. You're very welcome. How are you? And Coda's here. Hi. Get a few people coming in here from Twitch. Hello, my lovelies. How are you doing? It's gorgeous to see you. Thank you so much. Coda A and Coda 8 is with us from Twitch. And I've got Sylvie. If you watch the live stream on YouTube, you will be able to see the comments live on there. It's not as busy by any means as the live stream free tarot readings, but this is for serious sort of, I want to know the meanings of the cards. So here we go. We're carrying on through that. It can feel that there is an unethical feeling that goes on. I haven't caught up with the stream in a long time. I think I change it all the time, because when I do, I wanted to kind of come on a bit later, because I did think that maybe that this would work well for people in the UK and America. I have changed this, the time of the stream. I get on to do this one whenever I can. On Fridays, Sylvie, we do the tarot live, answering your questions. But this one is whenever I can get the chance to do it. Would you believe I meant to come on about an hour ago, and I did a reading instead. It just happened that it worked well for me and my client, and it's lovely. So I'm so glad you could join us. Sylvie and Coda 8, how are you? Thank you so much for coming in here from Twitch. Right, it can be about addictions, okay? In regard of the Five of Swords, okay, the addictions can be that of the mind, and we can do transfer addictions, can't we? We can transfer. Yes, it can absolutely represent somebody's negative own overthinking. Absolutely, Anna. That's exactly really what this card's all about. It's their thoughts. So it's nothing that's tangible. It can be based upon, okay, it's the thoughts of the day. You know, when person A sees it like this and person B sees it like that, and someone's like, oh gosh, what's the matter with you? You know, it wasn't like that at all. It's perspective, isn't it? But it absolutely can represent someone's own negative overthinking. The addictions, yeah, it can be addictions to kind of going round in anxiety. It can be transfer addictions. You know, you give up chocolate and you replace it then for an addiction that's something. I keep thinking, I want something, I want something. Again, it's the thinking, you see, and the mental conversation within oneself. I want this, I want that. So you transfer it from X to Y. You know, I'm on a diet, so now I'm actually craving Diet Coke, or no, I've got to cut out Diet Coke, so do you know, I'll go back onto smoking, or whatever it is, you know, just a matter of anything. So we can have addictions. I think we're all guilty of actually giving up one thing. We can get addicted to actually going, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. The dogs are barking, sorry about that. There's a little bit of a storm going on outside, and that was another reason I wanted to jump on before I actually got the problems of the internet kind of being unstable due to our storms. So indeed, it can represent someone's own negative overthinking, indeed. There can be a little bit of abuse going on here to oneself, you know, making life difficult for oneself, or being difficult with other people because you're insisting upon not being flexible and overdoing it, you know. And it can be a card of humiliation. Now, again, not tangible. It could feel that way. And when it's not about our feelings, but our feelings affect our thoughts. And when our thoughts are usually in a place of being scrambled and we're finding it difficult. I'm sorry, I'm just going to hold on one sec. I'm going to pause my mic just for a second. Sorry. Okay, that is what happens on live restreams. Now I've got to do live streams, I should say. I use restream. Sorry about that. That's my thread for a minute because the dogs are at it, making themselves known. And also it can do very much things in our mind that we've got a mock battle going on, a fight and conflict. And, we might actually think there's a big problem, there's an argument, there's a mock battle here. But in actual fact, we could actually go in the next day, talk to that person and go, gosh, I think it's just my thoughts. I really do think I'm overthinking the situation, or I'm feeling something that's causing me to have anxiety, and that anxiety is leading to conflict. Okay, so some brief keynotes there on what the Five of Swords can actually mean. But do remember, swords, thoughts, communication. It's not really about feelings. When I talk about feelings, our feelings can affect the mind and how the mind is working. Okay, and that can have a huge old impact on what we think and what we go and say, because it's all to do with our communication as well. Okay, right. Has anybody got any questions there on the Five of Swords before we move along into our Six of Swords? Anything? I've got some images of different tarot decks for you all tonight, as I usually show different examples of decks and how whatever card we're doing in this regard, it's Five of Swords and Six of Swords. And I've got 4 examples of different decks to kind of show you what you might get if you buy certain decks and what might resonate with you as a reader that makes you go, gosh, I could really read with that. I can see something in that I don't see in, for example, the Rider Waite. A lot of cards are Rider Waite based, as we know. So I'm going to move along. Okay, so our Six of Swords. Let's take a look at this card, and this is the Radiant Rider Waite deck that I've used for my PDF. The Six of Swords, well, look, there's somebody in a boat, 3 characters, what looks like the ferryman there, the one that's actually taking them on their journey, and the 2 characters that looks perhaps like a figure that's huddled in a shawl like an adult, and what looks like a child, okay? And if we look at the water on the right-hand side of the car, on the card, I beg your pardon, next to the boat on what I would say is possibly the adult figure, we can see that the water is a bit choppy. And that represents the emotions, even though this is the swords, and the emotions have been unsettled. Choppy waters representing unsettled emotions. If we look at where they're going, we can see that the water is indeed smooth and they're gliding along, which represents leaving behind difficulties and going into smoother times, particularly with our thinking. So the ferryman represents the person that perhaps comes in and makes all the difference, takes you out of a difficult situation, a difficult scenario. And 6 in tarot is always making progress. So the numerology is helpful too. So in this case, progress, going into calmer times. And they're going quietly through what's been a difficult and unpleasant and emotional transition. The ferryman represents the third party that I'm talking about. There's always some reason that we are able to get out of difficulties. And that usually can be the influences of others or someone in particular. It doesn't really matter who it is. And we kind of go, gosh, without that person, I'd have never got away. I remember many years ago when I was in a very difficult job, my second job, I think, I was a nanny and I worked for a family and I loved them dearly. And as can happen, you're neither family or staff because you are nanny to the children years and years ago, and the conflict came in, difficulties, and it became very unpleasant. I became very unhappy, felt my boss was completely picking on me for every reason going. Those difficulties, I remember calling a friend and going, I've got to leave, I'm just so unhappy. And she said, I'll come and get you. And my friend Diane rescued me and came in the car, and I gave him my notice and said, I've got to go now. I can't work my notice. I'm really sorry, but I'm miserable and I'm unhappy, and I think you're going to talk me out of it. So I'm sorry, I don't want paying. I just want to leave. And that's what I did. Hi, Jean Marie's here doing her embroidery. So you'll catch the replay later. No problem, Jean Marie. Always lovely to have you with us. So supportive, and it's good that you are able to watch the catch-up. Some big news, Jean Marie, at some point. We are moving on and able to expand on learning if you are interested. So I'll be telling you more about that as the coming weeks. So, yeah, we've all got something that can have happened to us where we feel if, that ferryman, in my case, was my friend Diane, a phone call saying, can you bring the car and can I just collect my suitcase and my gatherings because I lived in? And I just said, I'm so unhappy, I just have to go. And she said, oh, you must be unhappy if you've called me. I'm coming to get you. Come and stay with me. And that's what I did. And then I got another job within a week, and it was the happiest thing I ever did. And I left nannying knowing that I had made all the right decisions and come to the end of my road there. But that's an example of moving on. I'm sure we all have one. I'm just giving you an example of what the ferryman can represent. Now, if you look at her, Diane didn't make that decision for me when she came to get me. Not at all. That was my choice. I had to be the brave one. And even to this day, and that's too many years ago, 40 years ago, gosh, I wonder why I stayed the amount of time that I did stay. Yeah, I really do. Gosh, but 38 years ago, actually, I was 19. And why didn't I go sooner? Why did I let it get so bad? Well, I was young, and there's a right time and a wrong time. You have to forgive yourself. So there's an example of our thoughts and how it feels. Maybe it wasn't as bad. Maybe my mindset at the time was I just couldn't take it, and I didn't stand up to her like that 5. I just felt, gosh, I just want to be rescued. I can't fight this lady. There you go. Everybody has a reason that suddenly today or that moment is the right moment. Perhaps, we wonder why it doesn't happen sooner. So I'd like you all to think about a time perhaps in your life when you were challenged and for some reason or person that make that decision for you, like I explained, but you were able to cut away from challenges and difficulties and make progress, turn a corner and never look back and go, it was definitely the right decision. So it's definitely a passage away, isn't it? And accepting a challenge without any complaint and letting someone else take over. And Diane said, you're staying with me. I'm like, okay, I can't find somewhere to live in a week and I want to actually live out. And that was my lesson. Don't live in with the family you're working for and keep your boundaries. It's all part of growing up, isn't it? So we move on, we move away, and we travel, or we move forwards, and that's what we want. So believing that you will arrive at a better place through travel, even though it can be sad or sorrowful. Okay, so any questions or comments on our lovely 6 of Swords? It's actually a really good card. Very, very, very powerful, particularly to do with how the mind is working in a very good and positive way. So, no questions? Right, bear with me for a second. I'm going to play you this and then I'll bring on my next screen. So, here we go. And now you've got me here instead of in the PDF. Hello, Nicola. How are you doing? Hi. Coda. You asked a brilliant question. Okay. Coda is asking, In the Six of Swords, we are the person with the blanket. Actually, maybe not. Maybe with a child. Maybe we are the person in the blanket. Most probably yes would be my answer. But there's always the exception. Perhaps you are the ferryman. You see? And it's sometimes you look at that card. Sorry, I've got an itch. And you actually go, gosh, today I feel like the ferryman. This is what's happened. You know, somebody did this for me. I'm quite happy to do that for someone else. So I'd like you, each time you look at it, to think of it in a different way. What does it mean to you each day? And if you look on my new website for the courses is tarotcourses.online, and on there's only majors on there at the moment and the swords, but I have actually uploaded yesterday the Keynote book, which is much more detailed and much more the sentences that I would use as a professional reader in regards of the cards, and everything is there for you. You know, you can have your keywords, you can have your lesson. I'm going to be doing spotlight courses. We're going to be doing Zoom sessions where we can actually work with each other. And Fiona will tell you that I am a firm believer in actually pairing you up and asking you to do a reading, as in for each other. You know, just picking a card. What do you see? And maybe even challenging each other in a very nice way. I don't think, I think this, that's me, that's you, that kind of thing. And that's what it is. But each time you look at it, you'll see something different. And what are you feeling? What are you drawn to? And that's why I like to show these cards before we finish the lesson. Anna is asking a question. Do you think that there is a significance in the fact that the swords are in front of the figures, almost as a barrier? I do indeed. Absolutely. So it is a barrier. You see, this is what it's all about. It's what you see, and it is. And Fiona's saying, I do make you work, and I do. You know, there's a little comment. I'm going to put that on there. As in, here we go. I'm going to add that one. It's Six of Swords. We are the person with the blanket. And there you go. She said, oh, thank you. And this lovely question. Anna, I'm sorry, it's because your message is longer, so that's why it comes up bigger. There is a significance in that. I'll show you that in a moment. You know, look, there you go. In that card, very different. Okay. So sorry, I jumped in a little bit quick, didn't I? As in showing. Let's do it that way. Okay, I know it's the wrong way round, but as soon as you're asking about the six, it's actually such a lovely. Look at the difference. Okay. This one is crikey. It's the Muse, I think. I think it's the Muse. If not, I'm sorry. Gosh, I should have threw the boxes to one side. I think it's actually no, it's the Light Seers. It's the Light Seers. Sorry. And in this one, look, you can't really see the swords. Very different. You see, you've got different scene. Make you think of something totally different, wouldn't it? Yeah. Here's Winter Waite deck, very much based upon what you've just seen there with me on the last PDF, which is Rider Waite Radiant. Again, it is like a barrier. It's like, you know, it's shielding, isn't it? Yeah. Mental thoughts, you know. Again, this is the Morgan Greer deck. And again, I do this all the time because I haven't got the box. Fiona uses this deck, Six of Swords. She will tell you what this deck is called. I think it's the Mythic deck. Is it, Fiona? Fiona. Okay, I don't have the box for this one. I've got dozens and dozens of cards. I'm also going to put Fiona's comment on here. Look, she may be on a call. She's busy working. She's saying, if you do the course with me, I make you work. And she's right, it's the Mythic deck. I don't have the box anymore. It's so, this is, gosh, really, really old, but beautiful deck. So the difference, you see, yeah, the Mythic deck. And the Mythic deck is totally different. Look at that, you know. This is our traditional sort of Rider Waite, 5 of Swords. This is the Morgan Greer. Same sort of image, but here we've got somebody in a cloak. And that would actually, you know, in this regard, I'd actually say when I look at that, okay, that cloak represents in the 5 of Swords here that somebody's hiding something, okay, not being transparent. Or could be that they've got wisdom and they're not. It depends which way you look at it. Also, what's the vibe? What are you thinking about? Don't just look at a card. Ask a question. What's your question? You know, this is what I say. You know, it's no good just going, I can't remember that. It's got to apply to you. You know, if you asked a question and said, "Shall I eat cheese today?" It's a stupid question, but why not? Okay, ask something that you actually want the answer to. It's like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. What should I do? I feel like somebody's telling me this, and I don't know. I've got a headache. I don't know what to do. And this one is kind of like, don't tell me what to do, isn't it? Don't tell me whether I can eat cheese, or gosh, I've just been, you know, can't win that battle. And hang on a minute, I feel absolutely broken. I need to go off and, you know, gather myself and come back in and I feel battered a bit, you know. So it depends what deck you're using. Different decks will speak differently to you. And the question, you know, and let the colours tell you things, you know. In here we've got lots of green and sort of aqua going on in this deck. Here we've got lots of blues. Blue is tranquility and calm and peace. I think in our Mythic tarot deck there's a mixture of colours, but I find there's a lot of golds in there. Personally, that's what I tend to actually resonate with when I use this deck. Morgan Greer, well, beautiful colours, matte sort of finish, very much like pictures, you know, almost like an art gallery sort of type feeling. So it depends what you like, you know, and I do try and sort of demonstrate decks that I think you might actually enjoy. I mean, look at this, 5 of Swords here. So different, you know, to this one, okay? And this one, you know, completely different. And if we look at our 6 here, well, you see, this is why if you are actually going to do a class in a group, it helps if you're using the Rider Waite base deck, because you can all, as Anna McLeod said, you can all see the same thing by that actual image, because we're all looking at that instead of going, I haven't got that. I don't see what you're on about. We can expand, and there's nothing wrong with all of these other decks, but for the purpose of actually being able to get guidance and somebody know what you're seeing, and for you to see maybe something you've not noticed in the cards before, it's rather helpful if you are using a Rider Waite deck. Intuitively, let your intuition go berserk, you know, and gosh, use other decks by all means. But when learning, it's helpful to actually all sing from the same hymn sheet. Sorry. A surprise, my nose is itchy. Okay, so I do make you work. Fiona's absolutely right. If you do the Spotlight courses, which I'm going to be doing, we're going to be having Zoom classes and all sorts of exciting things. Of course, we do tarot workshop here like this, but I can't go into the detail or prepare a lesson for you in quite the same way. Fiona will tell you she did the beginners and the intermediate and the advanced, and I've got to. Hello, Benito. How are you? Benito, do you want to tell everybody who you are? Benito Colangelo. Well, we go back a long way. I haven't been in touch with him for a very long time. He's a school friend of mine that popped up on Facebook. Gosh, 5-6 months ago and said, "Are you Anne-Marie that I went to school with?" Indeed I am. And Benito is saying, "My personal colour is pink with blue spots. Am I losing my marbles?" He's a cheeky chappy, isn't he? You're welcome, Benito. You caught me while I'm teaching tarot. How lovely to have you along. Thank you. How are you? Are you well? How's Ireland? It's good. So, my darlings, say hello to Benito, everybody. Yeah? You know? Last time I saw this chap, I was 16 when we left school. And that's a long time ago, isn't it, Benito? So, different colours, yeah, it will speak differently to you. Remember, your blues are calming, healing, and yellow represents the chakra, which is our solar plexus, joy and happiness. Benito, Code 8 is talking to you. Benito, are you still there? Look at that, I want to chat to you. Yesterday. Hi, everyone. There you go. Code 8, that's lovely. Code 8, I hate to say this, but we don't know your name. We don't know if you're male or female, so sorry, but we'll call you Code 8. But thank you so much for being friendly to my friend Benito. And yeah, here we go. So, yes, different decks, different things. Have you got a favourite deck? I know that I want you all to work with Rider Waite while we do our lesson. I know that you need to do that. Because, my darlings, it's hard enough without actually going bonkers and sort of losing your thread and kind of going, I don't know. And there's some really fabulous decks that will really speak to you and make you think, and that's brilliant. But when you're trying to actually see something, the symbology of the Rider Waite decks really do actually help and inspire you. And to say, look at this is gorgeous, but you're just not going to get the same thing if you are using this one in comparison to this one. And look, just the very question that Anna Cloud asks, do you think there's significance in the fact that the swords are in the front, almost as a barrier? Well, look how the barrier is, it's like that, isn't it? Sorry, you can't see that. And here it's all lined up in a different way, yeah? So, any questions? Anybody got any questions? No? Okay. Well, will you go and have a little peek at my new course website then? I've got to read it off on my note that Tony sort of gave to me. Just getting used to the name. It's tarotcourses.online, okay? And there you can go in and see what you want. Fiona, go and have a nosy around there and see what you think. Thanks, Benito. Lovely to see you. It's much more exciting on Friday nights when we're actually doing readings for people. Today is our workshop where I help people learn the tarot and they can ask questions. And it's just a workshop. It's a little bit of fun in a very relaxed way. So, Coda 8, thank you for joining me. And Fiona and Anna McLeod, thank you so much. The darling Nicola Tudor's here. Where are you? Oh, Fiona's going to have a look for us. Jean Marie and Sylvie. Sylvie, are you still watching? It's lovely. Great to have you along here. And Tony. So, I'll see you all next week for another workshop. Okay, I've got another comment coming in here. Thank you. Oh, TC Shefflin. Hi. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I missed you all. Love doing this. Just gets busy trying to put the courses on, answer the calls, write the content, get it all. I never see Tony, bless him. It's now, gosh, I don't know what time. We're 3 hours ahead of the UK. So if it's 6:30, it's 9:30. I've got my computer always set on UK time. 9:30, and we're going to actually go and have a little bite to eat and maybe a glass of something nice. Okay, thank you, TC Shovelin. Thank you for having me, everybody. Thanks for your company, and do look out. You know I can't give you a regular time for our workshop, but I'll see you on Fridays if you want to have a live reading with me. Until next time, do take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll be seeing you soon. Bye bye, my darlings. All the very best. Ciao, Bella Benita. Bye.